then, did you then have in your mind long term? This is, I'm doing all this stuff, but in the long term, this is what I want to do. I wanted to either have my own production where I'm signing acts, or be a director, or be a manager.
I wanted all of those things, but when you're on the inside, when you can be a fly on the wall, you see how things run and things operate, you don't want it no more.
Wow, how come?
Because it's a dog eat dog. I mean, just cold. And man, a good-hearted person can get broken, and I've seen it. I witnessed it, and a lot of times I know that could have been me. But, also, too, when you're young and you're naive, man, that's how I understand how all these people always get got time after time. You're young, you're naive, you want it, you think you want it. And then you get it and be like, man.
So you were saying that you weren't as ruthless to being on the inside, to do this stuff. So you just thought, I'm okay being a friend and being a fly on the wall, but to actually try and negotiate it,
listen, not me being so much, I'm saying me being that I'm sitting in these meetings. I'm in these meetings. I'm up at the magazine place. I'm up at the media. I'm seeing how these people operate, and I'm just like, yo, this can't be me. This is not who I was raised to be. Like, I just couldn't be it. And then to see they build people up and destroy them, man, I just said, hey, I can't be that. Like, all people start saying, you should write a book. You should write a book. And I said, well, when I do write a book, it's going to be all positive, nothing negative. There's too much of that stuff up. I mean, it's like the things that I can say about people. I would make Wendy Williams look like a damn, like a little flag girl for the marching band. And it wouldn't even be rumors. This would be actual stuff that I witnessed, And you shout out to Wendy Williams. I did work for her too. I'm actually in the book. Like, hey, I got magazines, New York bestsellers, you name it, man. Hey. Yeah. Sometimes when I think about the things that I've done and the places I've been, I'd be like, wow,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen good people turn into straight a-holes, good people. I'm talking about people that I came up with. Like, legitimately, I would see them and, I guess since I elevated past the photographer status, kind of looked down on me at times, which I was just like, I'm happy though. I can sleep at night. At peace. Can you do that? And and it's like, and two, what I didn't like, things I didn't like about the industry was that the way that Black music is just it's just a small fraction of the pie. Mm-hmm. But the way that Black music was discarded, the way that Black artists, legendary artists, were pushed aside, the way that up and coming artists never looked out for the people who paved the way for them. I stuff like that, I just couldn't understand. It's like one of the things that I've done and always do is I'll always try to reconnect people. I always try to keep people, together, because it's an unnatural situation to put crabs in the barrel. That's why crabs respond that way. But a lot of people don't look out. A lot of artists don't look out for other artists. A lot of comedians don't look out for other comedians. A lot of comedians hate other comedians, and can't wait for them to fall so they can try to step into their spot. A lot of artists that have information don't, they don't use it. They don't do it. They don't look out for it, and it's really sad. It's really sad.
Well, I mean, being from the inside now, and I'll say that so when I started this, it was really just Father MC and Timmy Gatlin were my first two guests. Then with Father MC,
listen, I'm a big Timmy Gatlin fan. Big Timmy Gatlin fan. I'm a fan of his music, his writing, and that masterpiece he did with that Guy first album is just,
yeah.
Like I said, history. You can't look. You can do whatever you want, try to change it. If you can't change that Timmy's on that first album cover, and Timmy wrote like 7 out of 9. And 7 out of 9 are unforgettable records that go nowhere.
Yeah, but the thing is that when I talked to him, because I was one of those fans, like most people, who didn't understand, like, okay, the guy on this picture is not the guy in the video, and we never heard anything. So when I was
about it, right?
Yeah, so when I was blessed to talk to him, I said, I'm going to talk to you as a fan, just trying to be curious. So it was just learning and, hearing his story. I was like, wow, we didn't realize then I started to interview everybody else, and they're telling me all these stories about, yeah, we got robbed and stuff. And as a fan, you're on the inside, so you're seeing this, but we don't see any of this stuff. We didn't know that they always started. Mr. Dalvin at Jodeci says, yeah, we could make all this music, but we saw no money at Uptown. They took all our money. So hence we needed to go to Death Row to
I got one funny for you too, because I remember Hammer had a tour and he had like Boyz II Men, Jodeci, and TLC on it.
Yeah, I heard he had that big tour.
So there was, I think it was Hammer's brother who was really, letting them know like, hey, this is what you should get, this is what you deserve. And when people decided they had to make a move, and Suge Knight was heavy into Jodeci's situation to get them corrected, because we all we see is, think about it, this was pre-internet, and let's just take it back to Timmy. When Timmy and that situation happened, remember the media is like what, 3 to 4 or 5 months behind.
Yeah.
They do everything in advance so that when stuff drops, it looked like it's right now. I mean, a lot of stuff you're reading is old.
Yeah.
And there was no fast way to get the information around.
Yeah.
So I can see, in all you see is the glitz and the glamour. Like, think about when you realize that Teddy Riley at one point produced like 60% of the hip hop in the R&B, and then you be like, he had no money, or you think, and you see Aaron with the rings on and the fly suits, and you're like, he had no money. But then when you look at that Guy album and you see the Guy logo, because I was heavy into imagery and logos and things like that, and I realized that their logo was a griffin. Gene Griffin. I said, how gangster is that? That this man they was already signed. He came in and tried to have them sign new paperwork. Basically gave him executive control over everything. And Timmy didn't sign it. Smart guy like Ice Cube didn't sign it. Yeah. And they had to go through him to get all the releases, and he got paid. He was the only one that got paid off that album.
That's for me, that's been heartbreaking doing these interviews, because the more I keep hearing them from Gina Thompson stuff, it's hard. But for you knew, you were seeing all this stuff from the inside. How did you keep yourself, because it's been hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, for a year and a half, it was hard just to hear the stuff. I'm getting depressed listening to all this stuff. For you, how was it then watching it and seeing it live and seeing?
It was heartbreaking, because you got to remember, this was my life. Like, I'm talking about the pictures on the walls, and then you ground these people, you see things, and you just like, this can't be serious. Like, you should have, you should have this, you should have that, and you see some of these artists don't have it. Yeah. Some of these producers, they don't have it, and what I would always provide was a business sense of things. Like, okay, you got to stop sampling, because that's where the bulk of your money's flying out the window. Like, you could have a triple platinum album. You got 10 songs, 10 samples. Well, you got a bunch of estates or old guys collecting all of the money, all of the publishing. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, hip hop was bred out of necessity. It was bred out of the fact that they took out the music programs. So you had to get creative. You had to steal electricity from the light pole. You had to use those break beats, but it was to a point where it was like, common sense, you're going to have to start, either replaying these things and doing interpretations of it. But it was like, when things got out of control, you start seeing where, okay, then record companies started using production companies, and production companies was nothing but a buffer, so that when they realize what's going wrong, they can't come to the record company and say, where's my money? Record company said, you better talk to that production company. And if you look, stuff like that happened. Troop was signed to a production company, then to Atlantic Records. So you'd be mad at Atlantic Records all day, but Atlantic Records cut a check to that production company. You understand what I'm saying?
And they give them, so they I think when I interviewed 112, Mike and Slim, they said, look, we were signed to Carillion, and through Carillion signed to Bad Boy, even though, and as if Bad Boy realized, we're going to sign you to this production company so you can deal with them there.
Yep.
They'll get $1 million from Arista. By the time it gets to them, it's about
250. And then
but they have to pay.
Then it's going to be, here, guys, here's $2,500 a piece. All of y'all spend it in one place.
Yeah, but you have to still pay back that $1 million.
Yeah, you still got to pay back that $1 million. Yep. It's insane. And it's a dirty game, because this is why the industry preys on youth. You understand what I'm saying? They know that their families don't know nothing about the business.
Yeah.
They know that they see the glitz and glamour, but I get that money. So they okay, we signed. And then, 5 years later, child come back home and his career's over and he got to look forward to the rest of his life. And everybody go, where's your money at?
But what stopped you from becoming, because that's where managers are born from, because managers are the guys who know everyone. And so you could then say, if you got a good group, you could take them to the right people, but make a bigger slice of the pie.
I used to think there was some good people in this industry in those positions, but they're really not. I used to understand why, artists, sometimes their careers held in jeopardy by somebody sitting at a label that don't understand them and really don't care, but has a job to do, and his job and everything is to the label. You got situations where like I said, everybody I met in those positions, not the artists themselves, but the hierarchy, it was just not a good look. It was just a bunch of, taking lambs to the slaughter, because off the rip, you're going to take a bad deal, no matter how you look at it. And renegotiating that bad deal is hard. It's going to cost. Like I said, I look at, there's very few people who have successfully made it off of a record deal. Very few. If I did like this, I would have 2 fingers left.
Wow.
Yeah. And think about it. They get everybody. If Prince had to write Slave on his face and change his name, all the money he made for Warner Brothers, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And he didn't own Purple Rain. He didn't own the movie, nor did he own the soundtrack. The masters to that at all.
Wow.
Do you know how many hundreds of millions of dollars that thing yielded from then to now? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But then when in your position, when you're knowing this stuff and you come into contact with new artists, are you in any position to advise them, to give them like, man, you better be careful, don't sign this, or
yeah, listen, I've been doing that for over 20 years. Some listen, some don't, but no sweat off my brow. I speak my mind, and I don't care. I speak my mind. I don't care.
So the ones who have listened, though, what's been the transformation or change for them?
I don't think nobody truly listened. You got to remember, when you're the youngest guy, shortest guy, youngest guy, But if I was Suge Height size and said it, they'd be like, all right.
Yeah, but nobody takes good information at that stage, because it's like, unless you're.
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not that. It's embarrassment. Nobody want to admit it. It's embarrassment. I remember a young rapper was in a group called Legal. Legal had a gold album on Rowdy Records. I think it was Dallas Austin's first
Rowdy Records, yeah.
First act. It was called Legal. Mr. Malik, I remember he told me one time that he got emancipated at 16 years old as an adult, a legal entity. He never signed his publishing over to Dallas, never signed it over to Clive Davis. He did a record like This and Like That went gold with Monica. He got paid. He did a song with Snoop on a Doggy Style album that sold at that time 5 million copies. He did a song on a Dog Pound, 2.5. The song he did, I think he did with Pac, never got released or whatever, but he was a child that never really had to worry about working because he owned his publishing.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Multi-platinum plaques, multi-platinum albums. He's getting paid over and over and over because he never relinquished his publishing rights. Who on death row do you know that can say that? You understand what I'm saying? Remember, Snoop didn't even know what publishing was. He said that in an interview. Gaz eventually learned what it was. Corrupted, it's like, and shout out to Dog Pound. I used to work for Corrupt for years. Yeah, yep. Every time I run into Corrupt, it's like a family reunion. He got a street named after him in Philly and everything. But yeah, man, when he left Death Row, I met him, and back again with A&M Records. I was working with him for like 2 years.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come. But thanks a lot for watching.
I begin to